Hi, my name is Lauren Argyros. The plaintiff is the person who initiates a lawsuit by putting forth a claim to the proper court. The plaintiff must be able to prove their side of the story with evidence. If they do not have evidence, then there is no way for either side of the case to be proved, and no way to determine if either side of the case, alleged case, is at fault. The plaintiff also must ensure that they are still within the statute of limitations for their claim. The statute of limitations is essentially a deadline that a person must submit a claim by. For example, there is a 2-year statute of limitations on personal injury claims, meaning that from the day you get injured, you have exactly 2 years to file a claim before it is null and void and you are too late. The respondent is the person who is being sued. They are the person who the claim is being filed against, and they must respond to the suit. In a civil case, they can choose to go to trial, they can choose to attempt to have the case dropped, or they can opt to avoid trial altogether and have an immediate judgment issued by a judge. The accused is the person who is on trial. They are also known as the defendant, and they are the person who is being charged with a crime. In court, the accused will have the opportunity to share their side of the story, accompanied by an attorney if they so desire. Otherwise, they may represent themselves. The prosecutor is the person who tries a criminal case on behalf of the government. Their job is to decide whether to prosecute someone and how. They do so using witnesses and evidence to prove the defendant is at fault to the judge and the jury. Prosecutors must be good speakers, they must be well educated, they must be non-biased, and they must be persuasive. The defense attorney is the person representing the defendant. Their job is to advocate for the accused and try their hardest to obtain a not guilty verdict. If it is not possible to obtain a not guilty verdict and the accused is found guilty, then the attorney must try their hardest to have the sentence reduced as much as possible. Their job is also to ensure that their client is well educated on the goings-on of the case and understands what is happening to them and what it means. The judge is the government official with the authority to decide lawsuits before courts. Judicial officers of the Supreme Court and of the highest state courts are referred to as justices. Judges help juries to determine the facts of the case and to make an informed decision. They also help to determine the facts of the case and eventually to make a ruling. Judges must make a non-biased ruling and they must not let their personal beliefs get in the way of delivering a fair sentencing. The victim is the person who is harmed, whether mentally, physically, or psychologically, or even unfortunately killed in a crime. Victims are extremely important to the court process. They often must testify in the trial, assuming they are alive and physically able to. If a victim cannot or refuses to go to trial and testify, then the judge and jury must rely on other forms of evidence, such as witnesses, videotaping, and other physical evidence. The witness is a person called upon by either side of the lawsuit to give testimony before the judge or before the jury. Witnesses are people who were present when the events outlined in the lawsuit or case took place but were not directly involved within it. In court, witnesses are called up to testify on what they claim to have seen or heard. Before and after testimony, it is crucial that witnesses are kept separate so that they do not speak to each other. If they speak to each other, it is possible that their version of events and their story may get mixed up, which completely defeats the purpose of a witness. The police's role in a court case is to provide security, and they are there to transport an incarcerated defendant, if applicable, within the case. They also may testify as a witness against an arrestee. Depending on the nature of the case, they also may be the defendant and are being accused of a crime, or it is possible that they are accusing someone else of committing a crime against them. The members of the jury are the persons selected according to law and sworn in to declare a verdict on matters of fact. State court juries can be as small as 6 jurors in some cases. Federal juries for civil suits are 6 jurors, and criminal cases contain a jury of 12 citizens. The jury is composed of citizens, and their job is to decide the facts of the case and eventually come up with a verdict. Jurors must be open-minded and non-biased, and they also must not have any relationship to the defendant, respondent, attorneys, or anyone else involved within the case. All of these roles are extremely vital to the justice system and in court cases. Without them, we would not be able to deliver fair and justified rulings. Thank you.